What you doing out here? Huh? Running away? Handful of dirt? Yeah! Hooray! Alright, so we're out at the land again today. I've got to, there's fencing that has been done. I want to give you guys a proper tour of the property. But before we do that, I have to patch up some fencing before Brandy gets here with the dogs, so that they don't run away on us. So that's what we're going to work on first. And Kale. What are you doing, Kale? She's gonna get super dirty before mommy gets here. It's gonna be great. Okay, so we're gonna walk over here, and you're gonna stay next to me, and you're not gonna run around and get yourself hurt and all kinds of trouble, right? Right? Okay. Hold on, we're almost there. So the fence has been done, like I said. The only thing, let me set her down. There you go. Go ahead. The only thing I got left to do myself is I've got to get down in there and close off that bottom. It's because the dogs, the neighbor's house is right there, so the dogs are gonna go like run over and try to go attack them. So we got to fix that. We've got plenty of wiring here to do that with, so we should be good. Kale's gonna help out, right? Right? Just digging for buried treasure. I'm gonna do it myself. Anyway, I got some T-posts here, so hopefully that'll help out. Let's do it. Did you have fun? What? All right, so we did it. Just grabbing a drink here. Yeah. I want to show you what we got here. There's a couple moments where I was struggling to try and, sorry, adjusting. There's a couple moments there where I was struggling to get the wire around, because doing it with your bare hands is actually pretty hard. So I don't know how well this is going to come through, but trying to curve this stuff around with your hands, especially the smaller bits down here, get some little reverse hooking, you know what I'm saying? Pull it up there. I also had to get a little creative along the sides here with the branches, so I found some roots that were hanging down, tied it to that. It's not very sturdy, but it should be sturdy enough to hold back the dogs. There's some other stuff here. This place over here is a fucking nest. I had to cut it twice because the first length that I cut wasn't enough. It kind of stopped like right here, and then this kind of worried me that they might try to get through that too. So that was the second strip that I caught. The second strip that I cut, that was that right there. So now this should all be pretty good. I got all these poking out, so I'm sure they're gonna run up to it. Don't want them to get poked in the eye or anything. There's some loose bits here like that. I don't know what that's doing, but yeah. Overall, I think it's okay. I put this post back in there because I thought I'd be able to use it. This is where it came from. There was a big hole here. I don't think I'm gonna be able to use it. But same with a lot of these posts. There's only one that I actually used. I think if I'm going to use these, I'm gonna have to pull these out, and that's gonna take a little bit longer. And Brandy should be here in about an hour, so we don't really have time for that. What we do have time for is a property tour. All right, so where we're at right now is about the center point of the driveway. If you look down here, you can see this is like the front end of the driveway. There's a lot of grass, there's some dirt down there at the end. This was relatively flat when the clearing guys came in to do the rest of the driveway. So he basically just left this alone and then you know, flattened it out, drove over it a bunch of times. It's okay, it's a little bumpy in some areas, but overall I think it's fine. Up there at the front, we've got some problems with the dirt, especially when it rains. It gets a little slippery, especially for our cars. So we're gonna probably throw some grass seed down. That seems to be like the best thing that we could probably do. But then once you get up here, This is kind of like this is the center point, but this is where we had to, what the hell? Sorry, okay. Anyway, so this is the center point here. This is where we had to have culvert dug under here. I think it's a, I want to say it's like 2 8-foot. I want to say it's 16 foot. Maybe it's probably maybe a little bit longer than that because it sticks out kind of far. I don't know. Maybe there was 3 of them. Maybe I got 24 foot. 8 times 3 is 24. Yeah, maybe that's what it was. I don't know. Anyway, the culvert's here. We got to do some sandbagging or something here so that the dirt doesn't drift down and clog up the holes here. But this connects all of the drainage areas. Whoever's dug these out before we came here, you can see down the walkway here. We'll see it a little bit better in a second, but they dug this big drainage ditch, and all of this flows out into the road somewhere. One of these pathways take it down to the road, not on my property. But anyway, this is kind of the center area. This was a little concerning to us when we got it because we knew they had to drag in a house through here. But you know, the neighbor was kind enough to let us use the other side, so we don't have to take down these great trees. And as much of a pain in the ass it was initially to get down here, the clearing guys did a pretty good job. They took down the trees, some of the branches there. I had to pull some of those longer vines. You can kind of see them hanging there right now, but it's okay. Again, a lot of dirt here, goes on for a long way up there. This side actually, even though it looks worse because it's dirt, is actually better than that side over there with all the grass. Over there in the grass, you know, you're going on bumps and hills you don't really know. This part, I would feel comfortable doing like 50 miles an hour. So right through. There's a couple small things like little roots and stuff that slap the bottom of your car, but if you had a decent truck, you know, it wouldn't be a big deal. There's a couple trees out here. I don't think we're really going to do much with this driveway here, especially on this side. I mean, this ground, I mean, you can't feel it, but I can feel it. And I can feel it when I drive on it, the difference between this and the grass. It's just way better, way better. And then, you know, this ditch here, I'm sure it could be redug and could be cleaned out a little bit. I'm gonna wait for a heavy rain and see what happens. You know, Central Florida, we get a lot of heavy rain because we got ocean on both sides. And so whenever that heavy rain comes, I want to come out here and I want to see exactly what happens to the water, how much of it is actually collected here, how much is collected in the back, all of that, and then we can kind of decide what to do. But this is the driveway. This is part one. I'm going to walk this driveway and I'll catch up with you in a second. Okay, so here we are at the front. This is where me and Kale were over here messing around with the fence and stuff. You can see all that there behind me. We have some of the materials left over from when they did the fencing job. That stuff on the left there, I think that's mostly the crap that was blocking the ditch before, but you know, we're probably not going to use that again. The gate came with the property, so I'm sure we're going to find a use for it at some point. Some of those gates are 150, 200 bucks, so it's better to have it here. I'm not going to throw it away, and I'm not going to sell it. I just don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. The gate is great. One of the things that we had to do when we first got here, remember, is we had to get the gate fixed. Well, the gate's pretty well fixed. We just need something to affix it to. And so there's another T-post over there. I think I'm gonna put that in the ground and then use that so when we wanna hold it open, it's not swinging in the wind like it is right now. It's been really windy out here the last few times that we came. But this is the, we'll call it the front left corner of the property. This is where we're at, this is where you come in. Before, I think the last time that I was, the first video that we did, I showed, you know, it's been a couple weeks. But you know, it was just this driveway here. Nothing really has changed on this side right now, other than the house and the well and the septic and all that stuff has been much better marked out. I spoke with the permitting people and those who are doing the work, and they said that it's still going to be a while. It's still going to be probably another 4 or 5 months before anything gets done. We can have the well brought in, but without power we can't really use it, and you know, the power company is not going to authorize bringing power until the house comes. So, you know, there's all these loops and hoops we got to jump through, but eventually it'll get done. If you can see that white flag right there, that's where the well is supposed to be. We still got some of these stumps out here. The lady came out and looked at the house. She said, you know, where we're going to place the house, it's not a big deal to have those stumps there. Obviously it's better if they're removed, but they're fine where they're at. I adjusted the white rope, so the orange flags that you see here in the corners and that you'll see down there in those corners when we get a little closer, those orange flags are the corners of the house. So this white rope is now accurate as to where our house is, how big it's going to be, and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if I mentioned it before previously, but we wanted to put the house in the back corner because the main reason we're coming out here, the entire purpose of this property is the land. It has nothing, like, the house is secondary as far as we're concerned. So I don't care that it's in here in the back. The lady who was coming out here to do the permitting, she was like, "Yeah, are you sure you want it here? You got to think about it. What if you want a deck? What if you want a blah, blah, blah? What if you want a pool and all this stuff?" I said, "Well, I got all that land out there. Like, why do I need that here?" Because she was trying to convince me to pull it further away from the fence line. I said, "No, listen, this is where I want it. This is what I want to do." The yellow is what she has marked for the septic. I guess because we're doing an FHA thing, they have to have it 100 feet or something like that. A secondary option would be over here or something like that. You can see this house behind me. I don't mind showing it to you because nobody lives there. But that mound, that's what they're going to have to do for us. They're going to have to do a mound thing. It's not going to be dug super deep. They're going to, dig a little bit, put it in, and then fill it over. So now I would say we're on like the front right of the property. So a little bit of ways. My measurements were wrong last time. If you remember last time I said it was something about like 300 yards down. Well, it's 600 feet, so that's 200 yards. Big difference, 30% difference. But still, like I said before, as far as you can see, if you can see trees, I own it. So I'm gonna walk down there because there's some more stuff that I want to show you. All right, so let me get out of this horse poop. I am about center right of the property right now. This is kind of behind me is like the center area that we've been working on. You got the big burn pile there. We're gonna burn that tomorrow. We're actually out here today because we need to finish the outhouse and we need to get everything ready for tomorrow when we have our big burn. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. I may or may not include that in this video. I have no idea. I'm trying to do too many things at once, but this is the center area. This is probably the most open-aired area of the property that doesn't have a whole lot of trees. There's another section over there. It's a little bit smaller. We'll go there in a minute. But what we're thinking initially right now is that we want to dig it out and make some sort of lake or pond where we can hopefully cultivate some of our own fish and see what we can do with that. The problem that I have with that right now is, first of all, it's a ways away because it's going to cost some money to get a bulldozer or to get a tractor of some kind, or even to pay somebody to come out here and do it. It's going to cost a little bit of money, and we spent so much money on this fencing. I don't know, we'll have to see what happens. But the other reason I'm not too sure about it right now is because it is so open and it is so clear. Like, it would be a perfect place for a garden. And then so the question is, if we don't put the garden there, where do we put it? And our second option would be this place right here behind me, not too far down. We're thinking that this might actually be a good place to put the chickens or something, because chickens are loud, they make a lot of noise, and you don't always want to hear that noise. We're not too far from the house. I'm bad with measurements, but I would guess, based on how far in between we are, we're probably 200 feet from where the house is, somewhere around there. So about 200 feet away. It shouldn't be too bad. It's not that big of a walk every day, and it's nice to be able to walk out on the property and see what's going on around you and all that. So it won't keep us clustered in that corner, and that's the point, right? So maybe this area would be better for chickens or something. But then where do you put the plants? Because you don't have a lot of places like this that have these big open areas. A lot of them are covered with trees. There's a lot of tree thinning that we want to do, but all this stuff takes a long time. So we want to start planting right away. Maybe this is the best area to do it in right away, because we're going to have that big burn pile there, and that ash is going to be there for a while, and it's going to take a while to smooth all that out. So maybe this is the best place. I don't know, but we'll see. Another feature of the property here, reminds me, I got to fix some more fencing, because this drainage ditch right here goes into our neighbor's property, and this drainage ditch, there's a little dip down there that the dogs can get through. So I need to remind myself to do that before Brandy gets here, or while she's here, she can we can kind of keep them away from this area. But yeah, this is this side of the property. I think I'm going to climb on top of that pile, but not yet. All right, so here we are at the back end of the property. Maybe about almost halfway back middle. I'll walk more towards the middle now. And you know, this is the same guy that owns this piece of property here also owns that other side there. So I think this piece of land in front of us right now is about 10 acres. He also wanted to sell me this land. I just could not afford it. Maybe one day in the future I will own that land. That would be great for growing, right? You could do all sorts of things with pasture land. It's not as resource rich as maybe a forested area like this, you know, with all the wood and stuff, but there's no doubt that you can grow a lot more out here. So maybe that's something that we'll look into in the future. The fence is electrified, you know, not this piece, but that, oh, you can barely see it. Just above the red wire there's another wire that is electrified to keep the cows back. I learned that lesson the hard way. That was fun. But yeah, this is the back end of the property, looking more towards the house. I mean, standing where we're at right now, the car is on the other side of the pile, so you can't really see it, but you can't see anything on the other side, and I like that. I like having that dense forest between us and you know, everyone else kind of. And so, you know, I was walking back here and I was looking at it, and I was having like simultaneous thoughts. Like the first thought was, wow, there's a lot of brown out here. It's not very lively. You see a lot of people's homestead channels and stuff on YouTube, and they're all like, they got these great big trees and hills and forests, and it all looks so beautiful. And over here it's kind of like dark and brown and just not very active at all. But you know what? Like, imagine coming back here and playing laser tag, or imagine having like a tree fort back here and like swinging and just like, this is going to be great for kids. I think it's going to make a wonderful piece of property for everybody to grow up on, and they're just going to have so much fun. Who knows what kind of shenanigans they're going to get into back here, but you know, it's all good, right? It's all good. A little bit windy. Hopefully the dead cat is doing its job. But here we are at the back left corner of the property. You can see where we had our fencing put in. The guys that came down and did the fencing did an excellent job. You know, if you were in the area, I would highly recommend them to you. But anyway, they did an excellent job here. The fencing is way better than I would have done it. You know, you can see on the other side here, I don't mean to demean my neighbors, but the job there is not nearly as good as this here. And let me put you up here so you can see a little bit better. So there's a gap here in between, and the reason why is the property line is actually in between these two fences. And so when we looked at having the fence done, we originally wanted to just tack onto his or replace his or something like that. And when we actually came out here with the fencing guy, he's like, you know, actually his fence is clearly on his side of the property, so if you mess with it, you're going to be messing with his fence. And rather than going to him and bothering him about, you know, you want to go half on a fence, I'm sure I may have been able to save a lot of money, but what incentive does he have to do it? He doesn't need it. He's been living there for so long. He's got his own fence. He's got his own stuff going on. So I'm the type of person, I'd rather just leave you alone. And, you know, I don't want to ask anybody for anything. I would rather just do it myself. If somebody wants to offer to help or offer to pay, like our other neighbors did, you know, he offered to split the cost with me to do those two fences when I told him that I wanted to have fences up to keep the dogs in. He understood. He's got livestock and stuff, so he's like, yeah, I'll go half on it with you. And so it worked out. So I like deals like that better. I don't want to go bother him. People come out here for privacy. I respect that. People come out here, they got their own shit going on. I respect that. So, you know, I'm just going to build my own fence. He's on his side, I'm on my side. Works out great. I think it's actually going to be mutually beneficial here, because I doubt he's going to cut the inside of that. I'm definitely not going to cut the inside of that. So hopefully that grass will grow up and kind of give us that natural barrier there too. This is where the ditch starts on the side of the property here. I don't know, like this is why I question how effective it actually is and how much it actually gets used. We're gonna see, you know, when, like I said, when that first big heavy rain comes out here, I'm gonna come look and see how much is here, how much is soaked up, how far it goes down, all that kind of stuff. Because the guy who owned this property, he said that he dug this ditch because the sheet flow, the rain would come down and it would come down in sheets and it would flow across the pastures over there. And then, you know, he built this ditch here so that it wouldn't go into the trees and stuff. It would just hit this ditch and then kind of go down. I don't know how effective that was. I don't know how useful it's been. Obviously, he felt the need to dig it. But, you know, I don't know. I feel like this would be another one of those instances where having the ditch here is cool and all, but if we could repurpose that in some way, maybe if we had it to put in our pond back there in that center area, if we could divert it that way instead, and then we could get all this land back. Because if we do dig the pond, we're gonna have a lot of dirt, right? So why not fill this in and then turn all of this stuff here into grass, and then we could use all this. And then if we wanted to do a chicken tractor type of deal or something like that, you could start them back there at the end of the property, and then every day move them just a little bit more, move them just a little bit more, and then by the time you're finished, they'll be right up there at the front of the property, nice and convenient, ready to be chopped up and made into chicken dinners. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of the stuff that I'm thinking about. A lot of this is going to take a long time, but you know, I'm hopeful that one day, you know, many years from now, it'll all be accomplished, and I'll be looking at retrofitting some stuff. Ooh, look at what I just found. I don't know how to zoom on this thing. I don't know how to zoom on this. I'll figure it out in the video editing, but there's a bird's nest up there. It's pretty cool. And you see, like, I'm walking over here. I'm walking back towards the gate right now, and just a little bit further up from where we were, you can see this ditch here. It's not very deep at all. So I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at like how much work would it really take to flatten this out, to make it nice and grassy, and then put a garden here or something, to have some like fresh grass here. How hard would that be? Shouldn't be that hard at all. So I really question the usefulness of this ditch, but you know, I don't know, maybe y'all can let me know. Because look, we got another good piece of grassy area right here. So I don't know. I want to go climb on the pile because I got a really good idea for a shot. Let's see if it's any good. All right. It's a little scary to be up here sometimes, but look at this, huh? Look at that. Let me show you something. I am standing right now on top of the world. There we go. Just trying to mount myself up somewhere. Look down there. See that baby? Oh, I was getting a little scared there. Let's try again. Really relying on the cinematics and my editing muster to be able to make this look as great as it looks from where I'm standing. Right now I'm in the center clearing on top of the big burn pile. This is all going to be lit up tomorrow. It's going to be great. It's going to be glorious. But for now, it's just a big ass pile. What are you doing down there, Kaylee? Keel. Hey. What are you doing? You want to come up here? You want to give everybody a heart attack? You want to come up here with Daddy?